All right, we should be good to go. Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy Sunday. Are you ready to begin yet another week, the last week of preseason, Jim? Hallelujah. One more preseason game.
Yes.
Kansas City Packers right here behind us on Lambeau Field. But before we get there, there's lots of things that we need to discuss today.
Yeah.
Namely, a certain safety has departed the Packers. Josh Jones has been waived officially. The reports came out this morning, but the news was made official actually just, a half hour ago? It hasn't been very long. I don't think any of us are necessarily surprised that this happened. Reports came out a little while ago during OTA's minicamp around that time that Josh Jones was interested in a trade from the Packers. He wanted to allegedly be a starter, and that wasn't happening behind Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage Jr. So now he's free.
Yeah.
What happens now for Josh Jones?
Yeah, he's so he was actually waived with the illness. But really it's just a designation, and he can be free to be claimed by anyone. But because he was a second-round pick, he's got a decent salary for the next 2 years. So if he is claimed, that team will be taking on that salary. If he goes unclaimed, then he's a free agent and can kind of start all over again. So we'll see. A lot of times, Olivia, in situations like this, Brian Gutekunst does it quite a bit. Teams just kind of, while there's film, they'll go back to their draft grade. And if they had a high grade on him, if they think, wow, we can use him better than Green Bay did, you might see him picked up. So I guess that's the next thing is where does he go? And then if he's a free agent like Mike Daniels, he'd be able to go anywhere he wants.
So I'm going to look over on Facebook right now. Hello, if you've just joined us. I'm going to look at the comments in just a second, but I have another question for you, Jim. So a lot of this sort of question came up when Mike Daniels was released. Why weren't the Packers able to find a trade partner that would be interested in Josh Jones? Was it because somehow other teams were under the impression that the Packers were going to cut Jones regardless of what happened?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. He clearly was kind of phased out a little bit towards the end of last year, and that was when they had a revolving door at safety, so that speaks volumes. And then when they sign Adrian Amos to a top 5 safety contract, they trade up to take a safety in the second round or in the first round. I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall. So, I think it was a smart move by the Packers to keep him around because, look, you want to look at all the injuries and retirements that happen and can surprise teams in camp. If one of those guys got hurt, you'd want him on the team. So I think now they feel good about getting to week 1. Ibrahim Campbell we'll see. Maybe he doesn't start the year on PUP, and they feel good about that. So, I think it was probably shop around, see. No safeties around the league went out. No one was pining for it, so it's just better to move on.
All right. Well, let us know what you think, what your guys' thoughts are. I am going to pull up our lovely Facebook comments right this moment.
While you do that, they did claim. I think it was there's
you can hear yourself, Jim.
They did claim linebacker James Folston and cornerback Jaquiz Khalili.
Who was here today?
Jaquiz Khalili. Undrafted rookies. I don't know if those are guys who are going to have any chance to make the team. I think they're bodies for the game Thursday here because basically the same 33 who didn't play in Winnipeg probably aren't going to play, along with the other 10 or so who are hurt. So guys you'll see on film, and maybe that's the only time you see them is Thursday. But in terms of other inside linebacking news, Curtis Bolton met with the media. Usually guys who are severely injured choose not to do that. He did. Wasn't totally forthcoming, but had no braces, no accoutrement on his injured knee anymore. So, but I don't think he's going to be available anytime soon.
No, he did not sound very optimistic. Yeah. He said that the doctors do not know what his exact injury is. That's what he told us. Yeah. I don't know if I buy that. At this point, It's been several days since the game. I'm sure they have some idea of what's going on, but it does not sound like Curtis Bolton is very optimistic about his return anytime soon.
And Oren Burke, same thing, dealing with the pectoral tear again. We'll know more about how the team feels medically about those guys if they are carried through the 53 and then immediately put on IR, because that means you're not going to see them for at least 6 weeks. So, cut down day will really say a lot, or I should say the hours after cut down day will say a lot in terms of Bolton and Oren Burks.
Marcel also wants to know about Equanimeous St. Brown. We saw him scooter through the locker room today. It looked like his leg. Which leg was it? Was it his right leg?
Yeah, I'm already forgetting now. It was Bolton's right knee. I think it might be St. Brown's left ankle. It is a high ankle sprain. Generally, those are 4 to 6 weeks. I was told go for the long end of the 6-week period. So that was an injury that looked really bad. So he's probably lucky. And again, go back to what we just said about Bolton and Burks. How do they feel about that? How do they feel about that receiver room? Look, they're going to still have to carry him through the 53. So this isn't like Darius Shepard is on the team or Alan Lazard is on the team because of this. They may still have to cut one of those guys, put St. Brown on the roster or on IR, maybe. So, Again, next weekend, a lot of maybe moving parts for the Packers with IR designations.
Henrik wants to know if I'm in a kilt. These are pants. I wish I could show you, but I'm not as flexible as say J.K. Scott is. I can't get my leg up there, so it's not happening. But no, these are pants, but they do kind of look like a kilt situation. I hope you all like it.
Yeah.
And if you don't say anything.
Yeah. As you look for more questions, Rashan Gary did not want to speak to us, but walking around says he feels good, looks good. He didn't look any different than he normally does. So encouraging news because of all the guys. That was probably the most scary collision when you see the head, neck, back kind of get bent back, guy carted off. That was all obviously precautionary in the moment, and he says he's fine. We'll see, though, where he's at as they practice for Bears Week because he was not out on the field today.
So we've got lots of you talking about inside linebackers in the comments. Corbin wants to know, what do the Packers do now at the position? What is next? It's been quite the attrition at inside linebacker. Blake Martinez is just going through all the guys in the preseason, playing alongside quite a few people. We've talked about this a lot on our live streams. Is it time for them to just go out and find a veteran somewhere else?
Well, it's funny because they did that last year, right? Oren Burks got hurt, so they traded for Antonio Morrison. They signed Corey Toomer, right? So I think, how did that go last year? Was that great?
Well, they're not on the team anymore,
So, this year they were rolling with Curtis Bolton and Ty Summers and Brady Sheldon. So I could see that because let's be honest, if you want to carry Bolton and Burks through the 53 but IR them, that means Summers, Sheldon, those are guys who could be cut that maybe aren't claimed. And you can just sign them right back and they're on the team. So maybe they're going to go that route. Brian Gutekunst has made 5 trades in the past. I'm not going to put it past him that our phone isn't going to buzz in the next 10 minutes that the Packers made a trade. That's the thing. Someone has to make a minimum salary, Olivia. So think about it in a broader picture here. The Smiths are making $100-ish million total. Blake Martinez, if the Packers want to re-sign him after this year, is going to be making what? $7 to $9 million. Kenny Clark is going to have to make a lot of money. So someone in the 11, Adrian Amos, has to make $450,000. Like, it sucks to say that, but that's kind of how the math has to work. So I can see why you're not seeing a trade for Kiko Alonso. You're not seeing a trade for, a high-priced veteran. It's just going to be kind of piecemeal, I think, in my opinion. They could shock me, but I think that's how this is just going to go.
Do they move a guy, an expensive guy, to get an expensive guy? But who would they move?
Yeah, you could argue that releasing Mike Daniels was moving an expensive guy, but again, I think that money is earmarked for guys already on the team.
Kenny Clark.
So I don't. Who's left? Who do you move? You need everyone else. Like, their starting 11 basically was set until Oren Burks got hurt, right? So you're talking about backups and guys to fill holes, and that's just not. That the money isn't there. Look at the backup D line, right? It's Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry are paid. Tyler Lancaster signed an undrafted free agent deal. right? Montravius Adams, rookie deal. Draft pick, but a rookie deal. Like, it's young guys making no money. That's just kind of how depth works, generally speaking.
All right. This next question, Jim, is somewhat topical to something that you tweeted last night and topical to the news of the day still, I guess you could argue.
News of the year.
News of the year. News of the season, and the season hasn't even started yet.
Yes, without a doubt.
Oh, my goodness. What a night. Yes, Andrew Luck announced that he's retiring at the age of 29. Of course, there's always a way we can look at it. How might this possibly impact the Packers?
Sure.
So let's see who we got here. Stuart asked, hey, are the Colts calling about Tim Boyle? And I know I'd seen you tweet this out. Something similar. Does Gutekunst pick up the phone and gauge what the interest is?
Without a doubt.
Yeah?
I think so. First of all, he's already made a deal with Chris Ballard, Antonio Morrison last year for Lindsey Pipkins. Yeah. I mean, that's part of what this is. I mean, it's a cold business in that way. I wouldn't doubt that Chris Ballard might have even reached out a week ago because he knew this was coming 10 days ago, now that we know. So who's to say that conversation hasn't already happened and already died away, and this is, we're just 12 days late, right? But without a doubt. And the Packers are a little different in that way because they have a Kaiser who, whatever people think about him, had a high draft grade, was a high pick. Tim Boyle, undrafted, but has some interesting film, right? Both guys who are under contract this year and next, so there's time. Where it went, I don't know. Maybe that didn't happen. I don't know. But for sure, you think about it, and look, Brian Gutekunst says the phone will always be picked up. It's just whether or not what is said on either end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Let's see what we got.
Pardon my sniffles, guys. I got sick in Winnipeg.
Ooh.
So I've got a little bit of a cold.
Jim's been a world traveler.
Yeah, I was told I was very lucky. We, who all traveled, were very lucky. It was a great Winnipeg summer day. It was like low 60s and then dropped down into, I think Wednesday was 48 at night, 50. So when Winnipeg treated me very well, thank you to everyone who came to say hello. But I did get a cold.
Well, let me just make sure I'm correct here. So we've got some breaking news that you literally just forecasted. So good job with that. According to Dov Kleinman, who is employed by the NFL, correct? No, he's not employed by anybody. He says he's an independent reporter. He says that the Packers have officially released... Oh, excuse me. I should just stop reading and read the right thing, right? He says that the Packers have added Patriots linebacker Nicholas Grigsby off of waivers from the Ravens, and our Tom Silverstein retweeted it, and I trust Tom, so...
Yep.
So, yeah, there you go. There's your inside linebacker
who has played 23 NFL games for 3 teams. So basically, you're asking us, hey, who's Nicholas Grigsby? I have no idea. So go to PackersNews.com, turn your push alerts on. We'll update that very soon with all of his particulars. But generally speaking, 23 games for 3 teams means journeyman, a guy that you hope can just come in, learn the playbook pretty quickly, and plug a hole. So there you go. There's your veteran move. I know it's not sexy, but again, he's a guy who's on waivers for a reason, and so he'll be coming in with whatever minimum salary that he's had.
Very
smart.
Very convenient that this happened while we were live.
Exactly.
This could have happened in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
it could happen in a half hour. It could happen tomorrow, but it happened right now while we were live, so we could share with you. And it serves as a good reminder that if you're not following us on social media, what are you doing?
Right.
Follow us on Twitter. Turn what I do for this guy, for Tom, for everybody. I've got my notifications on for everyone, so I don't miss anything. Anything that they share.
Yeah.
Even some, whatever.
Fields going to 80 yards.
Exactly.
Are you trying to say my coffee snaps are not great content?
I was going to say, sometimes you have to deal with some noise from Jim, just Jim. Some coffee tweets and Snapchats, snaps.
I might have added you earlier.
Oh,
Snapchat.
That's okay.
Find us.
John raises a very hypothetical but interesting question nonetheless. What if Aaron Rodgers pulled an Andrew Luck?
I don't know if the Packers would let him walk away with all $90 million that he's owed or whatever else the signing bonus was. That might be paid out already. Yeah, that would be
something.
That would trump Andrew Luck for sure. I mean, what if? I mean, then basically DeShone Kaiser's starting against the Bears. probably, and Tim Boyle's the backup, but then they might switch that as the year goes. I mean, I think, if that would be the announcement tomorrow, that'd be something.
That'd be shocking. But you think about it, I mean,
but that's literally what happened in Indianapolis. It was that shocking.
Yeah.
So, you would assume that the player would have the same dialogue with the general manager, and I guess in this case Mark Murphy, that Luck had with Irsay and Ballard. So again, the Colts have known about this for 10 days, and that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means already things have started. Obviously, it would have put the team behind. Maybe instead of drafting Darnell Savage Jr., they draft Drew Lock. I don't, at that point. So that would be the head scratcher, but it would be a thing. Although I guess in Green Bay, I guess Brett Favre retired every year for however many years. So, I guess it would be a redux in a lot of ways for some Packers fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be curious to see a comparison of their injury histories. And
Luck, I think, the lacerated kidney and the rib cartilage are really, the kidney for sure.
That's extreme.
And then Rodgers has had the collarbone, but Andrew Luck's throwing shoulder was torn up. So basically, like, the thing he needs to do his job and what makes him special was broken. And then, like a vital organ was damaged. So I think this isn't to minimize things, but you could see why Andrew Luck feels the way he feels.
Sure. And it's not to say that, listen, Aaron Rodgers could have a hangnail and decide he wants to walk away from the game. And he has every right if he wants to do that. It's his choice, right?
Right.
So it has nothing to do with the list of injuries and the severity of the injuries. It's about the player and their circumstance.
Yeah.
So that's not to,
Yeah, so it was
compare
interesting
the two.
for sure. You
Yeah.
know, guys retire.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think Andrew Luck he's just the most famous of them all, at least in the last 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll take a few more questions, guys. Let's see what we got here. Oh boy, Buddy Wilcox. He's already saying perhaps maybe Rashan Gary is a bust. It's a little early for that. I can understand why some fans might be disappointed in the lack of stats that Rashan Gary has had through, I guess we could say 2 preseason games because he didn't.
I forget how many snaps he played before the injury against Oakland. It's too early. I would say, well, first of all, I think you can call Jason Spriggs, Josh Jones, Quentin Rollins, failed draft picks in the sense that they are no longer with the team. They didn't finish out even their rookie contract. To me, I understand there's a draft status associated with these guys, Olivia, but to me, if a guy plays out his rookie deal, if he's on the team for those 4 to 5 years, contributes in some way, that's not a bust because you already extended beyond the average NFL lifespan. And if he played and was like A.J. Hawk, I think some Packers fans feel is a bust because he was a top 5-10 pick. But how many guys play 10 years, don't miss games? So few. So in my view, A.J. Hawk was never a bust. You know what I mean? So, a rookie who has barely played, you can't go there yet. I mean, I understand it's instant reaction society, and we just promoted all of our great social media, which is kind of what we do there. But you can't go there yet.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and on top of that, how long will it take for Rashan Gary to get used to switching to this outside linebacker position in this new offense that he didn't play in at Michigan?
To that end, though, I think you'll see more production out of him. I believe this. Mike Pettine hadn't told me his game plan, so this is a guess. He will not do all of the things he's doing or had done currently this preseason, meaning he'll come in to go get the quarterback. So the preseason and practice have been for him to learn NFL speed, NFL strength, dropping back in coverage, setting an edge, learning how fast the play fake is, how fast the jet sweep is. He can't actually crash down because he cannot recover the way he maybe could against, no offense, your Northwestern Wildcats. It's just not the same, right? Yeah. So he's learning those things. I think once Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith and, yes, Kyler Fackrell are playing more often, Rashan Gary is not, so he will be able to do, do the thing he's best at, which is going to be go get the quarterback, create pressure. So I think you might see more production, if you will, in the regular season.
All right, let's see what we got here.
There's so many Northwestern guys on this team. I probably shouldn't have used their
Yeah, they're going to come find you.
But,
Actually, I'll let them know.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do that to you, Jim. I wouldn't do that. No worries. Let's see what we got. Flacco says, why not put Rashan Gary at inside linebacker?
Joe Flacco's asking this?
This is Flacco. It's his first name.
Okay, sorry. At inside linebacker, because he's too good for that. I hate to say that. But, like, inside linebacker, that's the other thing about all these injuries and, like, picking up a Grigsby or trading for Antonio Morris. Like, these are role players. Outside of Blake Martinez, the other inside linebacker on this team is a role player. Like, I think Tom Silverstein said that they played nickel 70% of the time last year, which means it's just Blake Martinez. And you're going to see Raven Green and Josh Jackson. Like, it's just, that's why. Because he's not going to be on the field as much. And if Rashan Gary's in there, you want him with Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith either out on the edge or stunting around with those guys like Kenny Clark on the inside. You don't want him running side to side and trying to read run plays. That's just not, you're putting him in a position to not succeed.
So Cody also raises the question, could the Packers use Rashan Gary in Mike Daniels' spot on the line? Have they?
No, again, well, I think the reason, yes and no. The reason they let Mike Daniels go is because Mike Daniels now is a third down only defensive lineman. Dean Lowry, quite frankly, is going to be able to play first and second down. Same thing with Tyler Lancaster. One of the reasons Daniels was expendable, yes, is because Rashan Gary and Zadarius Smith are, well, Smith they know can rush on the interior. Gary they believe can. So, yes, it's to kind of replace Mike Daniels, but no, he's not going to be that sort of anchor D tackle, D end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, long story short, he is where he is for a reason.
Yeah.
We'll take one last question, and then we're going to wrap it up here. Lots of people actually asking about running backs and sort of what that situation is and if they need to go out and look for another running back. Someone asked down here, let's see what we got. Your name is where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Anyway, so as you look for that, no, initially they're not going to look for an extra running back to pick up. I think the real question, Olivia, is cut down day. How many do they keep?
Yes. Yeah, it's a good question.
Aaron Jones is number 1, Jamal Williams is number 2, Dexter Williams is number 3. That was clear the moment they drafted Dexter Williams. So Trey Carson and Keith Ford are maybe in a roster battle with Malcolm Johnson because I think Danny Vitale's on the team. So there's 4. So it's how do they construct the offense? If Jamal Williams is ready to play, I could see them only going with the 3 running backs to start and the 1 fullback. There's 4.
Kyle had asked about Keith Ford. He seems to like him. Kyle does.
Yeah, no, I like Keith Ford is an interesting guy. To me, I think he's a guy that they might keep over Trey Carson on the practice squad. I don't know if Trey Carson has any practice squad eligibility left. He's been in the league since 2016, I want to say. I forget all those rules. But no, Ford's interesting. I mean, look, he was put on waivers for a reason, so maybe the Packers feel like in the whole roster dump of cutdown day, he's a guy who could sneak through and come back. So we'll see. But I think it's really just dependent on, does Dexter Williams get through Thursday healthy? Does Keith Ford get through healthy? Carson? And then, again, how we started this. A very interesting cutdown day and decision-making to make on how many guys 4 tight ends, 7 receivers. I don't know.
After watching him in camp, do you feel like Dexter Williams is ready for the 53-man roster?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's a 6th-round pick, and they did cut like Kendall Donnerson last year, and I think James Looney was a draft pick. So I know at the back end of last year's draft they did do that. I think Dexter Williams would get claimed. I think he's shown enough that he's worth keeping around. I mean, there's some rough spots, like his hands need to get better, but that's like any rookie. So I feel like if you're going in with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and Dexter Williams needs to spell a guy, you're good. That's my opinion. I don't think Ford or Carson get a job over him, but I guess I could be surprised.
All right, we'll have to wait and find out. Like you said, there's still a game in between
still a game
now.
left, and a lot can happen in that game.
Exactly, and it's all about who's healthy by the time the cut-down day comes around. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate having you. We'll be doing some more of these, I think, this week coming up, to be determined exactly when, so make sure you're following us on social media because we will be letting you know in advance when we'll be going live. And hopefully, if you do like our page on Facebook, you should get a notification when we go live, so it should be super easy. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, the game's on Thursday, and we are live before and after the game, so make sure you come hang out with us. Make sure you're checking out PackersNews.com for lots and lots of coverage. Like I said, we will be at practice this week, so we'll have a lot of updates for you as we close out the preseason. Jim, any final words?
No, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, good to have you.
Football, real games are about to start.
Back on American soil. Hopefully you can shake the Canadian cold soon. Yeah, that's going to do it for us here, guys. Thanks again.